Good morning. You got two? Three. Where's the service? Where y'all from?
Alabama.
23 and 24.
They have to really want to be here to be here.
28, 29. Good morning.
Morning.
How many
A
you have?
drizzly hour shy of dawn.
Where y'all from?
We're from Newnan, Georgia.
24 hours from the main event.
Still got a
Many
sneaker
here
store
quite
here?
literally drove through the night to be the first in line for tickets.
Did I hear you say that you slept in the gas station?
Yes, down
Right down there.
right down 100 yards that way.
So where are you actually from?
Nashville, Tennessee.
From there to here, the tiny church parking lot in Plains, Georgia, often filled with hundreds of new people, all here to see a man they so worry about.
How's he doing?
He came in our business yesterday.
Oh, wonderful.
Doing fine, yeah.
We just love him to death.
He's a good man.
He is a good man.
He is Mr. Jimmy.
That's what they call him, eh? Mr. Jimmy.
That's what I called him.
Not Mr. President.
No, Mr. Jimmy. I've been knowing him since I was about 10.
Mr. Jimmy, as in President Jimmy Carter.
Good.
And this, you'll see once the sun comes up, is his church. Maranatha Baptist Church, regular congregation about 35, except on those swollen days when Carter teaches Sunday school, which he's done for years. But Sunday is a full day away. Now with tickets safe in hand, time for the extra souls in Plains to have a good look around.
And so this is the place of pilgrimage. And just to give you a sense of it, Plains is a place of 7 churches for 600 people. It's a place the locals describe as just so flat, water doesn't know which way to run. And it's a place of 2 forever linked industries, peanuts and Jimmy Carter.
Tourists have come for both for years to hear the story of the farm boy from just down the road who sold boiled peanuts on these streets and may have grown to be governor and then president, but always called Plains home, still lives here.
You can get fried peanuts, boiled peanuts, parched peanuts, any kind of peanuts you want. This is a trading post. You can get all kinds of campaign buttons and stickers. We have the Plains Historic Inn.
And this is Jill Stuckey, another Plains fixture. A friend of the Carters who works at the church. Now, a few weeks ago, after Jimmy Carter announced cancer had spread to his brain, an editorial cartoonist drew a couple hammering an old campaign sign into their lawn with the new slogan, Jimmy Carter for Cancer Survivor. There's an idea, thought Stuckey. She hurried to get hundreds of signs made. The people of Plains scrambled to get them on their lawns.
When he first came home from the cancer treatment, his first one, that we wanted him to show that everybody in Plains was supporting him and welcoming. And, you know, we're used to Carter signs in Plains, so it just seemed perfect to greet him with the Carter for Cancer Survivor signs.
Word is the Carters were thrilled and suspected immediately it was her handiwork.
And he called you?
Yeah, he called me when he got into the house, and he, you know, mission accomplished. He said it put a big smile on his face. So.
Affection for Carter is real here, largely because he's so real.
The other day he was down at the hardware store picking up some screws. He was probably working on one of his woodworking projects or fixing things. He fixes things around the church. One day he was at my house for a meal, and I looked up and he walked out of the house carrying one of my chairs. And the next morning about 7:30, he was back at the house with the chair. He had fixed it. So he's handyman, neighbor, fellow churchgoer. He's just a citizen of Plains.
These will cook all day.
Stuckey plays host a lot. This night, too, her friends doing the actual cooking.
He actually loves food. I mean, he's a real foodie and not picky, which is wonderful.
Pasta Alfredo, peach cobbler, lots of veggies.
There we go.
They are friends, but also longtime Carter fans politically.
I just think that he is a man of integrity. I mean, certainly his post-presidency has lived up to that, and that's That's not a faking it for President Carter. That's in his heart.
Now, did the Secret Service have to come and taste your food to make sure?
They actually do come and taste it.
You just said that
At
table
dinner.
right there and have 2 or 3 helpings. Generally.
Just to make sure they
Just
tasted
to
it
make
right.
sure. Exactly.
Rumor is dinner was a hit. And Sunday dawned perfectly pleasantly. The well-dressed capacity crowd lined up in ticket order. All the better for the Secret Service to keep an eye on them.
We thank you for their willingness.
Once inside, a little window into Carter's contribution. He made the cross, made the collection plates too. A few pictures, a few directions.
You have one of these right now. You put it on vibrate. If you don't know how, I got teenagers here this morning.
And eventually, class just sort of
Well, as
starts.
Jan's probably told you, I want to know whom I'm teaching, so we'll start in the middle this morning. Just tell me what state you're from or what country. Kentucky. Kentucky and California. South Carolina.
Florida.
Ohio and Florida. Tennessee. Wisconsin. Illinois. Alabama and Georgia, okay. What do we know about Paul, first of all? Nobody knows anything about. What about Paul? He traveled a lot.
Then he
We're
walked
American, we
and
don't have the
talked,
right to
largely
exalt
about
ourselves
lessons
above
of
people from
leadership
other countries.
and kindness.
Each of us has a responsibility to take our own talent and ability and our own life and to use it in order to exemplify the finest elements of morality and ethical standards.
It's not just casual tourists listening in, by the way. Among them, the Browns. You see, in the 70s, Robert J. Brown was Jimmy Carter's Undersecretary of Labor. He so admired Carter that for a birthday present, his kids brought him here. He secretly hoped for a moment alone. Probably everyone did.
Forgiveness, compassion, the alleviation of suffering. And all of us are able to commit ourselves to that kind of life.
For 45 minutes, barely a stumble. Well, just one. He couldn't find a passage.
I think I got the wrong one. I'm sure Romans 6:23.
His wife, Rosalind Carter, chimed in from the pews.
Ma'am? Rosalind? Rosalind? Rosalind, let me teach the lesson. I know it's on the back. I was going to tell them that later on. That's Ephesians 2:8 and 9. And I'm not being short with my wife, but I was going to get to that point later on. I was going to point out to you. Excuse me, Rosalind.
And that's class.
Thank you very much for coming this morning. That's the end
But
of
not
our
the
lesson,
end.
and now
The Carters
we'll
have
have a
committed to
break, and
photos
then,
like they
we're
always
gonna
have.
Hi there. Come on up. All right, everybody, look this way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
Hundreds of photos. Everyone gets one.
Okay, everybody, look this way.
There's Jill Stuckey again in charge of snapping them. Smile, don't shake hands and risk passing him germs.
All right, look this way.
Click, and then go.
Hello.
Carter's used to stand for this part. His doctors have begged him to sit. He's 91. She's not far behind. Finally, the Browns. This is Undersecretary Bob Brown's one chance to say hello to his old boss.
Better not watch the camera.
And yet, he doesn't say a word.
All right, looking good.
They smile, get their picture, and leave.
Good.
We had to follow outside to find out why.
Did you hope to have a moment with him? Did he recognize you? Were you?
I don't know, and I didn't expect him to. I was really, when I first seen him come out, I almost started crying because it's been a long, long time since I've actually seen him, and he probably looked at me and thought he didn't any idea what I looked like.
They all, it seems, hang on to what they knew of him back in the 70s.
He's a good man.
You have fond memories of him?
Oh, do I ever? Yeah.
What sort of fond memories?
His eyes. When he looked at you, he was just so sincere all the time in his eyes.
Can we see your photo? How it turned out?
Oh, sure.
Now a new picture for the album, new memories,
There it is. Okay, do you want to send
and fresh ones for the women from Nashville we'd met the
There
day
it is.
before, the ones who'd slept in the car at the gas station.
He was just so among us, you know, and I turned around and there he was. And I mean, my heart was just going like this, but it just felt so comfortable. He was just right there among us and just, God, he's such a good speaker.
Tourists don't really stay long, and eventually the pulse of Plains slows to its normal resting rate. Around this time, near 6 o'clock, there's often another service, for usually just a couple dozen of the regulars. Used to be President Carter and Mrs. Carter would walk to it faithfully. Used to be. No one really expects that now. He's tired. At the stroke of 6, no sign. They'll all have to get used to not seeing him. But then, a little quiet convoy. And there he is. Too weak to walk the whole way to church, but a man who clearly doesn't want to miss a moment. Commitment, just the Carter way. Adrienne Arsenault, CBC News, Plains, Georgia.